Welcome to this Leadership Catalyst live interview series, and I'm excited to have Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Aultman with me today. He is an U.S. Air Force officer, and his current assignment is Chief of Development. Josh, so great to have you with us here on this the Leadership Catalyst.
Thanks, Ramona. This is awesome. Thanks for the invite.
Well, so glad to have you here. So Josh and I have met through LinkedIn. It's actually been a relationship over, several months that we have noticed that we have a lot of similarities and similar interests in terms of leadership development. And I have always really been interested in sort of the leadership principles that are practiced inside the military and what's coming out of the military. I think they've been really advanced with so many of the leadership trainings and principles that are being applied. So when Josh and I met, I thought that this is really exciting. I love what he's doing and what he's posting. And so I'm really excited to have you on and ask you just a few questions in regards to leadership training and what inspires you as a leader and tips that you have for new leaders. And those don't apply just to people inside the military, right? Those are really principles that apply to anyone who's working with humans, because at the end, we're all in the business of people.
Absolutely.
So let me get started, Josh.
Sure.
What is an experience that really influenced you as a leader and how you practice leadership today, as a personal experience that has shaped the way you see leadership today?
Okay. Yeah. For me, I would go back probably about 12 years ago. I was working in Iraq for General Clary, and he was the top Air Force guy in Iraq, and he had an immense job, and it was to take the airspace that was being controlled by the military and give it to the civilians, so that they can control it, open up businesses and revenue streams. So big job. My portion of that was to make sure that the aircraft could talk to each other, could talk to the ground, the airports could talk to each other. So the first week I went in and I had this laundry list of things. I was excited. I was like, man, I've got this awesome job and I did all this work. I'm going to go tell my boss, which is pretty standard in the military. You get like once a week updates. So I come in and I'm like, I did this. And he's like, stop. Just stop. Josh, the reason why we hired you is because we know you can do the job. I trust you. I'm gonna say that again. He goes, I trust you. And man, that just hit me. I was like, he trusts me. This guy with such an immense responsibility, trust me. And he goes, so don't come back in here until it's done. Which to me, I was like, man, that's a lot of work. I'm never gonna see this guy again. But I did. And now today, I use that a lot, especially for people that we hire that I absolutely trust. I tell them, I say, hey, I trust you. I trust you to get this work done. We hired you for a reason. You're going to get it done. So I say that. It's the same thing. I trust you. And just hearing it makes a huge difference.
This is so powerful, right? And it goes two ways. It's like on one side, it makes it easier as a leader if you start from a place of trust.
Yes.
Versus where you feel like everyone has to trust, has to deserve trust and prove that can be trustworthy.
Yes.
That in itself eliminates so many stressors and worries of your back. But for the other person, just what that does for the relationship, but also for their confidence and how empowered they feel, immense.
Now, have you told people, Ramona, have you been like, I trust you to do this, and then is there a facial expression that happens? I mean, can you see it?
Yeah, totally. And I think, as a coach, I'm often a champion, and I'm often a challenger as well. And when we look at something that's like, oh my God, this sounds scary, and I say, and I mean it. No, I trust. I know you can do this. There's a moment of like stillness, and it settles in, and it's like, yeah, you're right, I can. And so that they feel connected to their inner power and their inner belief. It's really, it's amazing to see what's possible.
I agree. So yeah, great question. Trust is it, man.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing that. So speaking of sort of things that are really essential for someone to lead and lead a high performing team,
Yeah.
what type of advice do you have? And someone comes to you, they're managing or leading a team for the first time, and they look to you as a mentor. What pieces of advice do you say, like, hey, this is something that's really going to make a difference that you want to put in your backpack and carry with you, or plant the seed for someone that will step into new leadership role?
Yeah. I get this one a lot. So, 20 some odd years ago, I became a supervisor for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I had no training. I was given some responsibilities for a summer hire, and I worked in the Commander's Action Group for Air Force Material Command. And what that means is the top general, the top 4-star general has a group, and it's called the Commander's Action Group. Mm-hmm. And they do all of the advising, and there's very senior officers there for the 4-star and this big engine, which is cradle to grave life cycle management of every weapon system in the Air Force. So I'm looking around, and I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm in my 20s, and that's okay, right? And I'm like, man, I like what she does. I like what he does. I like what everybody does, and I try to make myself like them. And so, like, clipboard, I'm gonna read from the clipboard. Not me. Like, if you know me, I'm not a clipboard person. So, like, it came across so fake. And the person I was supervising actually gave me that feedback. She was like, I would listen to you if you actually gave me like actual directions instead of like trying to copy everybody. And I was like, oh. So my number one thing is to be genuine. Like, there's only one you. There's only one person like you. There's only one leader like you. And to try to emulate someone else, it's always going to come across fake. It's always going to come across wrong. It's not going to be as productive as if you just act like you, like yourself. And that's hard for people to do. They want to be something successful, but it takes 21 years to become a 21-year-old. So in order to be at that level of maturity that people want to achieve like overnight, it takes some time.
Yeah, it takes some time, totally. I was just recently writing about this in terms of like being patient and knowing that these things just take time. It's similar with leadership, right? It's not the day you get promoted, you turn on a switch, like a light switch. It's not, it's a dimmer, and it's slowly, gradually, getting brighter and brighter. And that takes time. But then there's ways to accelerate it. And I think when I speak to new managers, one of the big differences that I think will speed that up, that process of that dimming, the dimmer, is when someone gets really clear on who they are. So really knowing like what makes me me. Why am I in a leadership role? What do I care about most? What do I value? How will I make decisions? And it's also clear preferences and personality styles, and knows, okay, this is my strength. And then I know there's a weakness or something that that I'm aware of. There might be a possible blind spot. And so when you know all these things, it's so much easier to then also, be yourself, and sort of that a little bit overused word, but be authentic and not across as someone else, and not feeling like you need to imitate someone to be someone.
One of the ideas that I've been teasing out is that your leadership style is like a voice. Like, everyone's got a unique voice. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're growing up, that voice cracks and it squeaks and it does weird things, right? And you're embarrassed at the moment. You're like, whoa, I should be talking differently. And it's embarrassing, but it's all part of the process, right? Like, the people that are your parents or your family members, the people that love you, they're not judging you by what you say. You're judging by what's happening, and as that voice develops, and you gain more confidence, and you become just more comfortable in your voice, it comes out different. And it's the same thing with leadership. It's a process.
Yeah, 100%. I love that analogy of the cracked voice. Thank God I never went through that process myself, but I totally get how that changes, and I can get uncomfortable in situations, or all of a sudden you say something and it's like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah. for sure.
And that's just stretching, right? Stretching yourself and growing, and then slowly finding your voice.
Yeah.
Or in terms of like, I found my voice, but I mean in terms of like the masculine cracking.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, everyone does it. Everyone changes their voices based off of how excited they are. People can see if you're excited based off of how you're talking. So,
yeah.
I'm
Speaking of that, finding your voice, what is an inspiration or something that inspires you to keep growing as a leader? Because you've evolved, you've had a very successful career, and leadership is sort of at the forefront of what you do and how you do life. What inspires you?
Well, there's a lot of inspiration that we get kind of baked into all of our military careers. For officers, we learn about theory, and leadership comes as a part of that, like studying history, like Karl von Clausewitz is a good one. Sun Tzu, Mao Zedong. These are the people that led major events. From modern military, General McChrystal's a good one, and he still follows up with a lot of great stuff. He posts a lot of great content. Admiral McRaven is another good one. General Schwarzkopf. Those are modern military folks. From sports, David Goggins is off the chain, right? Michael Jordan is a good one. He's got lots of great things. People surround Michael Jordan are good. From music, like I like Sammy Hagar has a great book where he talks about how he kind of evolved. I like Les Brown, but I'll stick to one. Gary Vaynerchuk.
Look at that! I did not expect that.
Gary V.
Yeah, what is it about it?
So Gary V's got a phenomenal story. So he's a second generation American. He's got a dream to own the Jets, which is just powerful. But over the period of 20 years, I would say that I've kind of been off and on following him with his wine YouTube things, and now into really affecting people's lives. Like, he really brings a positive message, and people need the positive. It's so easy for people to be negative, like so easy. It's a natural thing. You don't have to teach a kid to lie. That's natural, you know. But to be positive, that's a true inspirational thing that he brings every day. I mean, he's posting things, changing lives live every day. Gary Vee is the man. So, and then I don't know if you're a subscriber, but I get text messages from him with his text group, and they're just amazing. And it's mostly like love, and you can do it, and don't let the haters hate, this type of things. Very raw.
I gotta sign up for that. I don't get his text messages. But what I do really appreciate about him, and what I think is also like transferring well into leadership overall, is this idea that he's constantly showing up. He knows who is serving, right? Even if he feels not up to it that day, he is doing it because he's serving an audience, and he knows he is. And he also doesn't shy away from being uncomfortable or being the one who has to say something, because he feels, whether right or wrong, but he feels what he's saying will help the other person, even if that makes him even if that other person or others, whoever is listening, don't like him because of what he's saying.
That's right.
He takes his ego completely out of the picture. And I think, right?
It's truth. I mean, he speaks it genuine. Back to being yourself. He's himself. Yeah.
And I think so many times when we are holding back on feedback because we think like, oh, maybe then that person won't like me anymore, or I'm delaying a difficult conversation with someone, it's usually because of us. Like, we're getting in the way of the team, the organization, or the other person doing something different, or getting better, or getting along better, building stronger relationships. There's something in us that's holding us back. And I feel like he doesn't do that at all. So I find that really inspiring about him.
What a great example too. I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people hold themselves back from doing the right thing, even though they know it's the right thing.
Yeah.
They hold themselves back. And what a great example Gary Vee sets for you not to do that. And yeah, inspiration, love him. I'm going to continue following him. And he's the man.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to sign up for his text messages too. One more question. So here is as this is very timely because we've started being working remote and with the economic impact and all that starting in March. Now it's July. Now we're looking at schools possibly not starting in the fall. It's definitely prolonging. We have been realizing for a while, this is not a short-term issue. This is a longer-term problem. It's hard on teams. Mental health is a big issue. Burnout rates are starting to be top of mind for a lot of organizations. What have you been doing, and what has worked for you in the past to keep a team motivated, especially during difficult times? Because I know that in your past and with your assignments, you've gone through many, many challenging times. So what is sort of your secret to keeping people engaged?
Yeah, that's good. Engaged and motivated, those are things that equal productivity all the time, right? I'm really blessed and fortunate where I'm at now, because we really do a good job at hiring super motivated people, self-starters. So I'm gonna kind of change it on you a little bit. My problem isn't motivating them as much as trying to get them to communicate with each other. Because what happens is, since COVID, all of these windows have opened up with mobile apps, different internet processes where we're like what we're doing right now. We're communicating over the internet on a website. There's plenty of these. And then we work with industry, we work with academia, we work with other parts of the government, and they all run real fast at it. And I'm like, whoa, guys, did you think about introducing these people to these people so that you guys can work together on the same thing that you're working? It's the same thing you're working. So I have to pull them back. So recently we had a new executive come into our organization, and I've looked at our battle rhythm, and I've asked the team leads to look at the calendar and schedule things where they actually talk to each other. So instead of me saying you will talk to each other, I'm giving it to them, and I'm saying, hey, own this, figure out how you're going to communicate with each other. And that's really opened the door. In the last couple of weeks, I see a lot of face-to-face engagements using technology. I see a lot of people on the phone that normally wouldn't be on the phone or in the room. They own it. So just giving them a problem and saying, once again, I trust you. We hired you for a reason. Make this good. It's so powerful to empower, and that motivates people. It really does. It's been great.
Yeah, I love that, because I'll talk a lot in my coaching programs with clients about the sort of the 360 view on communication. Because oftentimes, especially during stressful situations, we think about communicating with a boss and then communicating with a team, but that's like one way. And then we need to think sideways as well. And then we need to encourage our team members to do the same thing, for them to start looking sideways. And sometimes, like you said, you are the one saying, you guys figure this out. You guys talk to each other. You work on something similar. So sometimes it is in the leader's responsibility or on the leader to facilitate this and encourage them to have dialogue and, merge teams for specific meetings, or bring someone in for specific updates, so that information flows fluidly, not just up and down the chain, but also in all other directions.
Yes, you hit it. You hit it really well with that. 360 is one of the ways that they look for feedback in the Army, actually, to where they're asking people above, below, and to the sides of them, hey, how am I doing? And that opens up a feedback circle that is missed in a lot of environments, and it's very powerful. Look, it doesn't matter to me if someone likes me or doesn't like me, but what does impact me is if they don't want to talk to me or share things with me, because of that feeling that they have. So having that awareness is extremely important. But communication, really, if you're not communicating, you're never going to get to where you need to go. It just isn't going to happen, or it's going to be extremely hard, and no one wants to learn lessons the hard way.
Yeah, truly. And the higher up you go, the more of your time goes into communication, and the more of your attention needs to go to communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Josh, I promise you we're going to do this 10, 15 minutes. We're at 20 minutes. I'm going to let you go. I know we could keep going forever. I want to bring you onto my podcast, but I'm going to ask you this. I planted the seed, but I'm going to ask you this officially after the live. So hang on tight, because
Okay.
Josh is, I want to share this quickly, because Josh is, currently assigned as achievement development, but he's also working on his passion project, which is writing a book and collecting a lot of his notes and his experience from the past and as a leader in the military, as a very successful leader in the military. And I can't wait for this to come live. I got a sneak peek. I'm very excited about it. We'll be sharing more of this, so more to come. Definitely follow Josh here on LinkedIn. We'll make sure to link down below after this live is over. Follow his profile or message him. An amazing person to have in your network and to be connected with. So thank you, Josh, so much for being on. And I don't know if you have a final word to say or something else to share, but this was already tons of gold that you shared. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. This is a great discussion. Can't wait to continue talking with you, Ramona.
Awesome.
Let me just publicly thank you for the COVID survey that you pushed out a couple months ago. I shared that with a lot of our executives. We got a lot of great insight from just the people that answered that. So thank you and your community for providing us with some good information.
Awesome. It's great to hear. I appreciate it. Thank you, Josh. And we'll be back with another Leadership Catalyst in a week or so. Everyone who's listening or watching the replay, have a great day, and we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.